Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from our sponsor. The Daily Compliance News for January 8, 2024, the Unwarranted Embarrassment edition. And we begin with that story from the Financial Times, as the Dangote Group, the company led by Africa's richest man, has accused Nigeria's anti-corruption watchdog of seeking to cause unwarranted embarrassment by raiding its headquarters in a probe into favorable exchange rates handed out by the country's former central bank chief. The raid by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission on the Lagos-based conglomerate last week was the latest salvo in a widening probe into former central bank governor Emefiele, who has been accused of fraud and mismanagement. Next up, from the Wall Street Journal, a very interesting article on de-risking a China-reliant supply chain, but that in and of itself can create new risks. So how do you see if de-risking is actually playing out and paying off? And moreover, especially in an overly complicated global supply chain, there are new risks being created. So you have to, once you put a strategy in place, you have to monitor that strategy and adjust your risk management strategy as appropriate, whether that includes an almost continuous risk assessment process or simply monitoring every risk management strategy. It's not a one and done, and this article really drives home the point that some supply chains seem to be lengthening as Chinese parts move to other countries. Next up, from the Washington Post, the Federal Drug Administration is allowing the state of Florida to import prescription drugs from Canada. Why? Well, a cost-saving move. Now, of course, Ron DeSantis, idiot governor of Florida, will probably oppose it because, of course, it's good for the citizens of Florida, and he is antithetical to anything positive. But the agency's move drew condemnation from pharmaceutical companies, highlight U.S. policymakers' ongoing struggles to bring down the prices of drugs sold domestically. In other words, you can sell them cheaper in Canada and they're the same drug. Why the heck can't you do it in the United States? Well, the pharmaceutical industry doesn't want you to know the answer to that, and they certainly don't want you to have it, and I'm sure Ron DeSantis will soon take their side. And finally, Elon Musk returns, as only Elon Musk can, but this time I have to say these are somewhat troubling story. It's reported by Bloomberg, although the story was initially broken by the Wall Street Journal, and it's about drug use by Elon Musk. He's well known for having taken a toke on Joe Rogan, but this article suggests that it's a much steadier use of a wide range of legal and illegal drugs. So do you know what your CEO is doing? The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.